स्टार्ट मैं आ रही हूँ उसमें व्यू में हाँ ठीक है So guys, hi everyone, I'm Dr. Abhilasha and I'm going to take your lecture on cross-cultural and global management. In this, the topic that we are going to touch is performance and talent management in global companies, right? If someone can get up and tell me what did we study in the last class, because we will be picking up from there. You can look into your notes and just enlighten the class that what have we done in the prior class.
Dimensions of HRM.
Great. All right. Great. Right. And we also entry and re-entry also we studied, right? So this is a small recap that we studied these dimensions of global HRM. And the outline of the presentation for today's classes that we're gonna study performance management in global scenario, learning and development strategies in MNCs, expatriate compensation structure, communication and negotiation in cross-cultural landscape, and ultimately we will study the case study discussion, right? So why do we need to study global performance? Why do we need to study global performance in the global scenario? What is the need? Okay, forget that. What is performance management according to you? ये can we switch on this fan? ये तो आवाज़ कर रहा है. ये आप on कर लो. What do you understand by performance management and why is it important? हाँ. Correct. Exactly. Because इससे आपका क्या depend करता है? Your future growth, right? How you are performing currently, your appraisals, your future growth. If currently you are a manager, how will you excel in what is the duration that you will get on a higher hierarchy, so on and so forth, right? And why is important to have a cultural competence in evaluation? See, if there is an organization which is headquartered in Mumbai, has its operations in Dubai, and it's also having some sales in Dublin. Various employees are working cross-culturally in various countries. So it is important that we also consider their cultural essence while we are judging them on their performances, right? Goal settings across cultures. So when we talk about goal setting across cultures, so here in India, the approach is more of a teamwork. People are judged. See, if suppose these are the students who are part of one team, I will be judging the overall impact of these students, how they are working, but it would impact the team, right? We'll have teams, students हैं या employees हैं, उसमें काम कर रहे हैं, उनके जो cumulative scores होंगे, वो उस team work को reflect करेंगे. But in countries, in European countries, like for example, France, UK, these are the countries where more than the teamwork, the individualistic scores are taken into consideration, right? Feedback and communication. Why is this important? This is important because I don't know how many of you know this, that the HRs, they also take you, I mean it's a very confidential process that happens. They also take a 360 view and they also take the feedback of their seniors and of their juniors. Though it is confidential, उनको भी ले जाया जाता है, उनसे भी पूछा जाता है that how are you being treated by your seniors? Is there any concern that you people are finding, right? For example, like here in India, there is a very indirect feedback approach. बाहर बहुत directly they ask, okay, tell us about your manager. Here, because there is a certain inhibition that probably our CRs will be written. हाँ, I have it. हो गया है क्या attendance? जिन लोगों ने नहीं साइन करे हैं प्लीज़ कर दो. मेरे पास हाँ हाँ मेरे पास है. For example, in countries like Germany, it is more direct. They are like, we all know, right? Their communication, we beat the bush. Here, if we want to come to a certain point, we will have a background, we will have a story. जो बात करनी है उसके आस पास बात करके then we will come to the point. Here the approach is very indirect. It is not because individually there is an issue, but it's a cultural thing. This is how we are not confrontationists, we don't confront, right? But in countries like Germany, US, UK, there's a more confrontational approach. They have a direct asking of the questions, right? Why is training in performance important for performance management? Because there should be a common yardstick, right? If there is a pharmaceutical organization, it is important that their performance management is analyzed, is taken care of, not like if it is a tech management, it is a pharmaceutical organization, and accordingly they should have a performance management system which suits the need and that can judge an employee on that scale. So why do we need to study performance management in global context? Tell me, why do we need to study that? Do we have a chalk here? What do you think? Can someone get me a chalk from somewhere, please? चलो ये नीचे लिख लेते हैं. Why do we need to study performance management? Tell me, in global context.
business जो है emerging है, मतलब competitiveness और competitiveness होता है, कुछ इसलिए हमें global के बारे में भी जानना.
ठीक है, and so according to it is emerging businesses, right? Okay. So the question is, why do we need to study performance management in a global context? Why is it important? Tell me. You tell me.
We need to be understand how they success in their work. मतलब there is a lot of successful companies in the.
Guys, I'm going to share the slides also, alright? So just in case you miss out on certain points, it's fine, I'm going to share them. So yeah, please continue.
There is a lot of companies who are successful in their work. So in a global context, we need to be learn how they work, what's their culture, and
Right. So why do,
We can predict the growth of the countries. Now we are, as we have just mentioned it globally, then from the separate of the countries, it's like, is this country growing well or not? So we can just get to know about it.
right,
Because it is not about a single organization, it is
Right.
about the whole country. So it will represent the country.
right. So this is what exactly the first point talks about. So it talks about global competitiveness. So global competitiveness means that how your organization is performing globally in contrast to your competitors, right? So when, you know, why performance management is important, because see, we all understand there's a high attrition rate. People leave from one organization to another if they are paid well, and in most cases if they are treated well. There is a saying that goes that people don't leave organizations, they leave their bosses, right? There's a saying that people don't leave their organizations, they leave their bosses. So in the context where, to drive the global competitiveness, it is important that we need to have a strong performance. You guys just give the attendance sheet to those students also, right? So the process of leveraging performance management strategies, it is important that we have an understanding of the performance management. So enhancing multicultural leadership. So for instance, ma'am, you are the CEO of certain organization, and in your particular organization there are not just Indians, but there are people who belong to various other cultures. Probably people are from Middle East, there are people from UK, European countries. So as a leader, it is important that you have an understanding of the cultural nuances. You are pro with how Indians work, the indirect communication that we have. We have this habit of nodding, right? We all do. But do you think everywhere it's the same? No. They say it. Probably if you are in a meeting where there are people from various countries, you nodding, they will take it yes. We just nod, right? Yeah. We just nod, right? This is an indirect communication, but there probably it will be considered as something that you are saying yes to whatever they are saying. Probably it's just a nod for an acknowledgement of what you are saying, not a yes or a no. right? So then optimizing global talent pool. Why it is important? Because see, as you grow, as an organization grows, we need more talent, right? We know that the CEO of Microsoft, who is CEO of Microsoft? Who's heading Microsoft? He's an Indian? Indian, I mean not Indian, but Indian, I mean he is, right? And who is this guy from IIT Kharagpur, Kanpur? Sundar Pichai, right? So he's an Indian, studied here, taken there. Why? Because they obviously wanted a good talent. And for him to relocate and stay there, they have to really ensure that not just him but his entire family is taken care of. Here we can see that in Reliance Industries, they take care of their global employees as well as their Indian employees. Then cultivating organizational culture. Why is an organizational culture important? Can anyone tell me why is culture important?
Because of culture, most of the attrition happens because of culture issues.
Right.
That's why if you are able to maintain a good culture in any domestic or international organization, you'll have a good performance with less attrition numbers.
Correct. So why an organizational culture is important is because there is a saying that says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So what does it mean? आपकी जो भी strategy हो, कुछ भी हो, हम ये कर देंगे, we see ourselves here 10x, 100x growth in future. But if your culture is not correct, then it will be really difficult for you to execute those strategies, right? So it is important to have a culture taking into consideration all the cultural nuances, right? Here also in India, even if like for Delhi, we can say that it's a cosmopolitan state, right? People here are from various parts of the country. Here also, in an organization, it is taken care of the understanding of people who are from the south, from the north, from the west and from the east. Then legal compliances and ethical governance. We understand if we go to different countries, there are different legal compliances. We have studied this in the earlier class as well. There are different labor laws, and one has to understand that it is important because, for instance, if I go and I start teaching somewhere in Harvard or somewhere at MIT, probably it will be a very different thing. If from Delhi University I am going there, the things are very different, the students are different, probably how we teach them, how we rate them would be very different, how am I communicating with my colleagues will be very different. Similarly, if you guys, both of you, you are posted somewhere, you work for Infosys and you go to US, there probably you will find it very different and at times may be difficult to interact with people. Because here, if there is a new student in the class, we are all very, please come. Okay, I'll tell you the course, I'll tell you what is going on, I will join you on a WhatsApp group. वहाँ पे, हाँ ठीक है आओ, करो, figure out yourself. You have to take the initiative. Here, probably the other students will take the initiative, right? So there's a cultural thing. There's nothing right or wrong, and in management for that matter, there is nothing right or wrong. Okay. So I've given examples also. So when you guys will read these slides, right? So you will have a better understanding. So increasing employee engagement and retention. Similarly, as we discussed earlier, it is important for engaging and retaining the employees because ultimately they are the one who will take your organization to another level. Especially in today's time when the borders are, the global borders are missing, it's a global times, they just don't think about working in India, they think about working everywhere else. So in such conditions, it is very important that, we have certain strategies so that we can retain the employees and they stay with us for a longer duration. Then boosting cross-border collaboration. So Larsen and Toubro, you know what Larsen and Toubro does? What is this company into, guys? There at the back. L&T. What does L&T do?
Switches, MCBs, many things.
And construction as well.
Construction. बेसिकली कंस्ट्रक्शन। जब भी आपने देखा होगा कहीं पे भी मेट्रो का कुछ काम चल रहा है या कुछ हो रहा है, बड़ा बड़ा LNT के क्रेन्स हैं, मशीनरीज हैं, राइट? सो these are certain organizations that we all know, right, that Germany is the hub for automotive and for these things. So they also have they have employees from there in India, and they ensure that they get the benefits which they were getting there. And because अगर आपको किसी को भी इंडिया में आके काम करवाना है, तो you have to ensure that the person is treated really well and get a really handsome salary. Even if I would go abroad, if I'm being paid the same amount that I'm being paid here, probably I'll not opt, right? But if I'm paid well, I'm getting better facilities, probably I'll go and work over there. Then what is the next point? Someone can read this for me? Fostering innovation. What do you understand by that? Girls would say. Ma'am, आप बताएं. What do you understand by fostering innovation? Yeah. Why do you guys look puzzled? अब मैं देख रही हूँ, आपको पता नहीं चलता है? I'm looking at you. हाँ, tell me. Okay, never mind. You? So what is innovation? Innovation is to come up with something new, right? New ideas. So in organization, generally ये होता है कि the employees who are already there and the new talent comes. So when they are freshers, there are certain organizations they only go for freshers. We need freshers. Why do they want freshers? Because when a fresher goes and work, he or she has new perspective. Probably we are thinking in one direction. A new fresher comes or an intern comes and he or she tells us a different way to look at a same position. You know this sign, Nike?
Yes.
Read about it, that who gave this sign. Alright, this is your homework. You have to go and read about it. Who designed it? हाँ? आप लोग ये घर जाके गूगल करना, यहाँ तो है नहीं अपना नेटवर्क, otherwise, right. An intern who designed the sign of Nike, right. Then navigating expatriate challenge. We have read it in great details in the previous class. The expat challenges is about when they are going and the relocation, how the schooling of their kids, if the spouse is working, where would they work, how would they execute things, so on and so forth, right? Like TCS is one organization, they really take care of all these things. And I was thinking one thing, if it would be a great idea if I can get somebody from the industry to give a small lecture to you guys, so that you will have a clear picture, because I have people in my close allies who are working with Infosys Consulting, and they are on the projects in US and currently they are in India. So I'll try if they can come, and you will have an in detail experience at how they are being treated there, right? So I'll try if I can get someone here, all right? I'll try. There's a Diwali time, so probably I need to check, but I'll try if I can get someone in the class. Okay. Then enhancing global mobility. Why is it important? Because of the knowledge transfer. Do you understand what knowledge transfer is?
Yes, when a specific person leaves the organization, he or she may have to transfer the whole
Right.
responsibilities and the knowledge about the process of
Right.
the specific project to the other people who is transitioning the same role.
Correct. Here also, when I'm talking to you guys, it is a knowledge transfer. I have learned something over the years. I have learned something during the years of my PhD, and I'm transferring this knowledge to you people, right? Similarly, अगर आप एक ऑफिस में हैं, तो आपके जो लीडर्स होते हैं, वो आपको नॉलेज ट्रांसफ़र करते हैं. They will tell you, how to go about it. अगर आप सिस्टम पर हैं, अगर आप टेस्टिंग पर हैं, तो कैसे काम करना है, क्या करना है, हैंड ओवर अगर कोई करके जा रहा है, तो these are certain premises for the knowledge transfer. So there's a small case study. Can you guys just read it once? We will just quickly discuss it. इससे questions नहीं है, don't worry, वो वाला part we'll take it in the end. अभी आप बस, if someone can quickly read this for me and explain what you understand by this. So what are the challenges that they have written? So see, when you have people from various countries, various cultural, then it is important to have a metric which is similar, a similar yardstick, but everyone is considered into that. So we know that Infosys works in more than 46 countries. So they ensure that the performance management system that they have, that they prepare, it takes under consideration about the employees, about their pay structure, about their basic pay, so on and so forth. So the actions that they took were, they also created a localized matrix system. They also took care the cultural sensitivity training programs for people who are from different cultures. Then technology enabled performance management, so that overall in various countries the same system is there and they are judged accordingly. It might sound very easy कि कितना मुश्किल होगा ये करना, कि क्या है मतलब एक performance management है और system है, अपना डाल दो क्या, but it's really tough. It's really tough. लास्ट क्लास में भी हमने बात करी थी कि कैसे दुबई का जो वर्क शेड्यूल है वो डिफरेंट है. वहाँ पे चलता है अपना संडे टू थर्सडे, जैसे अपने यहाँ पे मंडे टू फ्राइडे होता है, राइट. देन ग्लोबल मोबिलिटी प्रोग्राम्स, किसी को एक्चुअली भेजने से पहले फॉर अ बिगर प्रोजेक्ट, अ प्रोजेक्ट विच इज़ फॉर अ ग्रेटर ड्यूरेशन, they are sent for smaller duration, like for 15-day thing, maybe a 20-day thing, so that they can get accustomed to where they will be working in future, right. Then legal compliances, as we studied earlier, that each country has different labor laws and all the organization have to comply to that. So what it resulted in it? See, जो भी ये सारे performance management, practices, trainings, development thing, जो भी होता है, the main goal is to retain the employee, talent, because it is very difficult to retain the talent. This is one of the key things which is the major KPI of an HR. So what all these things resulted in was that it resulted in a global employee engagement. There was a less attrition rate. The company reported, as I said, less attrition, and Infosys built good performance management systems. And certainly if there are people who are not leaving the organization, they are paid well, everything is taken into consideration, then the companies, the results and how they are working and how the profits that they are making will obviously be enhanced. So next we will discuss about learning and development strategies in MNCs. What do you understand by learning and development strategies? Why do we need these? पढ़ के बोल दो. Why do we need learning and development? See, we need, like, just leave all this, global, HR, leave everything. In person, as an individual, why do we need to learn? Why do we need to train ourselves? Let's just go basics. Right. Otherwise also we need to. Right. And?
Develop yourself.
Right. We learn something. Kyun? To enhance our skills. Right. For instance, let it be a very basic thing, the way you dress up. You dress up from basic and gradually you learn how to dress up in a different way, maybe a better way, in a different way, right? Why it is important? It is also skill set, right? Similarly, see, जब भी हम कोई भी concept पढ़ेंगे ना, तो you will find some mumbo jumbo words, right? ये हो रहा है expatriate challenge, but just keep it to basic. Everything that you read, not just in this subject, but for that matter in any subject, just keep yourself as a unit. If it is about me learning and taking the training and the development classes, how will it impact? Because micro से macro पे जाता है. Ma'am who wants to be a lecturer in economics, you know this, right? Right? Are you here with me in the class? Are you all right? Feeling good? Okay. So why it is important? It is important so that we have such a strategic imperative. Learning and development से हम हमारे जो employees हैं उनको ensure करेंगे कि आप हमारे साथ हैं, but हम आपकी learning and development का ध्यान रखेंगे. You will not feel that you are stagnant in the system. You will not feel that आप आ गए सुबह, आपने एंट्री कर दी, ये काम कर लिया, हो गया. We will ensure that you are given different projects so that you learn about different things. For example, if I have a personnel who is working with, for example, PwC or McKinsey and working for an oil and gas project, we will ensure that the person is different as a different project so that the learning is there, and probably not oil and gas, maybe textile and so on and so forth. That so that they have a learning about overall, because people do get bored, right? Even if we'll keep studying one thing, if you know every time subah se sham do you're reading HR, you'll be like, bas. You want that, you know, that you need to learn about operations, you need to learn about finance, accounts, so on and so forth. Then cultural diversity is also very important. क्यों important है? क्योंकि उसी के according हम इनके learning and development programs हम उनको बनाएंगे, हाँ? उनके जो भी हैं, उनके जो backgrounds हैं, उनको leverage करेंगे. For example, it is considered that kids who Japanese and Chinese, they are very intelligent when it comes to mathematics. Even people who are from Israel, we all know that they are considered to be super brilliant when it comes to the technology. वहाँ के लोगों के लिए मुझे एक different learning and development program बनाना पड़ेगा अगर मैं चाहती हूँ कि वो इंडिया में आके मेरे organization में they start working. Then global versus local, we know. Global हमारा एक certain setup होगा और एक local होगा. Local क्यों होगा? So that उन लोगों को भी feel हो that they are at home, right? That even if they are here, they are considered that, you know, they have certain things that they think ki we are not away from home. And similarly, when you guys will go abroad, even you should not feel, you know, there are certain India का कुछ एक festival चल रहा है, some cultural thing is going on, वहाँ पे सब उस दिन साड़ी पहन के girls are going who are working abroad, right? So they have certain things so that, you know, they feel that they are, there is a home away from home. Then what is the role of technology? The technology, see generally also, how does technology helps? It enhances the accessibility, right? You want something? So why do we need technology? We need technology so that a lot of things are accessible to us, right? Learning हो रही है, एक training हो रही है, especially now. पहले शायद इतना ज़्यादा emphasis नहीं होता था, but now if there is an online training जो US में हो रही है, probably you guys can sit here and take that training. There are various courses that happen, which are obviously some courses are paid, some courses are free of charge. You can stay here at your home and you can learn those courses from good professors. So now centralized strategy. So centralized strategy talks about कि ये एक strategy है which works for all. मैंने एक strategy बना दी कि ये सबके लिए है. For example, मैंने एक HR का exam plan किया जो सबके लिए, probably you know my students are probably not that interested in HR and they are good in marketing. Probably they will score a little less compared to my students who are good in HR. Similarly, there also it is taken into consideration that there are centralized strategies which obviously has its pros and cons, but there is also a localized strategy. So when I talk about centralized strategy, so one of the pros is that there is a consistent training, right? There is a consistency which is there in the training for all my employees, but what the con is that they might look the cultural nuances, the religious nuances, right? Then localized strategy, same कि आपका localized strategy का pros ये हो सकता है कि there is a higher relevance कि उनकी जो हर चीज़ को हम ध्यान रख रहे हैं, उनके sensitivities को हम ध्यान रख रहे हैं, we are taking care of that. But the con is, which was a pro in centralized strategy, that maybe it is complex for them, maybe they are not able to understand what exactly is happening, right? So you guys know KFC? Have you been to KFC? Right? So what does KFC do? What is it into?
They have a standard way of creating every dish which they offer in a sequence of particular manner, if I can say. So they maintain the taste of the KFC franchisee across global market.
Right. So KFC, it is a QSR chain. And and it is in various countries, right? सो दे इंश्योर कि उनके जो एम्प्लॉयज़ होते हैं वो कल्चरली सेंसिटिव है उसको. हमें इंडियंस को वी लाइक इट, यू नो, इफ़ यू एवर गो टू एनी होटल, वहाँ पर आप जाएंगे, वहाँ के जो अगर कोई एम्प्लॉई, मतलब जैसे आप एंटर करेंगे देयर विल बी समवन टू ओपन द डोर फॉर यू, राइट. राइट, आप गए, आपके लिए एक डोर खोला, आप एंटर करें, गेट खोला, जो भी डोर, आपने वैले को पार्किंग के लिए दे दिया, एंड आप जैसे ही बैठेंगे देयर विल बी 10 पीपल सराउंडिंग यू. व्हाट वुड यू लाइक टू हैव, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ वाटर डू यू वांट, मिनरल, रेगुलर, सब कुछ होता है, राइट. दिस इज हाउ इट वर्क्स इन इंडिया, right? And we see very people, foreign nationals coming in our country and staying in these hotels, and they are welcomed with a garland, right? Are you there with me, sir? बाद में देख लेना फ़ोन, थोड़ी देर की बात है, थोड़ी देर जस्ट, ठीक है. You've been to a hotel? Have you ever stayed in a hotel? So how are you welcomed there? So see, when I'm talking about, let's assume Taj. वहाँ की हॉस्पिटैलिटी है, देयर इज अ हॉस्पिटैलिटी, दीज ऑल आर द एम्प्लॉयज़, राइट. सो लेट्स कीप इट वेरी टेक्निकल, ओके. सो व्हेन यू एंटर, व्हाट डज इट हैपन? हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल बोलो, फिर इंग्लिश में बोलेंगे बाद में, पहले आप हिंदी में बोलो. बोलो. हाँ, कहीं पे भी गए हो फॉर दैट मैटर, पता तो है ना, मूवीज़ में तो देखा है ना, ठीक है, नहीं गए कोई बात नहीं. हाँ करेक्ट करेक्ट, हाँ राइट राइट, ठीक है, हाँ ही इज़ राइट. यू वेलकम विद अ वेलकम ड्रिंक, देन गार्लैंड होता है, टीका लगा देंगे वो, है ना, वो नाच रहे होंगे. अगर आप किसी एक राजस्थान के किस जयपुर या कहीं चले गए तो वहाँ का जो HR प्रैक्टिस है, हाउ दे ट्रीट रहेगा, फॉरेन नेशनल्स आते हैं, दे आर ऑल्सो वेलकम्ड एंड यू नो एकदम अच्छा ट्रीट करते हैं ऐसे. व्हाट डू यू थिंक व्हाट हैपन्स अब्रॉड? Nothing, nothing at all, nothing.
In DC, there, PM and rest of the minister walking in the streets normally with the common people.
Here, if you see, if one person is going to a restaurant, there are at least 15 people at your service. आप किसी से कुछ भी पूछ सकते हैं, and I don't know, it just so happened that when you enter somewhere, when there are so many people asking you आप क्या लेंगे, this way, that way, you feel very happy and you know that okay, this, so we go there for an experience, right? We go there for an experience because that is how those people are trained. That, so we are looking at it, see, हम जैसे रेस्टोरेंट में उस एंगल से नहीं देखना है, we have to consider as there how these people are trained, right? But if you go to a country which is a European country, there will be nobody to welcome you. No one. And if you happen to go post 9 o'clock, you will know, there is no guard system. There is no security guard who is sitting there and welcoming you. आप जाते हैं, they mail you one code, आप खुद वहाँ जाते हैं, अगर आप लेट है 9 बजे के बाद, आप खुद होटल का रूम खोलते हैं, आप खुद अपनी चाबी निकालते हैं, आप खुद लिफ्ट से अपने रूम में जाते हैं और वहाँ पे जाके यू टेक रेस्ट और व्हाटएवर यू डू. वहाँ पे आपको ऐसा किंग ट्रीटमेंट नहीं मिलता है. दिस इज़ हाउ देयर ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम इज़. सो व्हाई एम आई मेंशनिंग दिस इज बिकॉज दिस इज़ हाउ. सो व्हेन if you happen to go there, you will feel very different. You will be like, we are, and you will pay humongous amount, right? There you will pay humongous, like for probably for one stay you will pay so much, but वहाँ पे services के नाम पे आपको कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. आपको वो फ्री के सोप भी नहीं मिलेंगे, पानी भी नहीं मिलेगा. You have to drink the water which is there in the bathroom, right? You है ना, हाँ सुपरमार्केट से आपको लाना होगा, लेके जाओगे. खाने को आपको कुछ ऐसे रूम सर्विस, ये there is nothing, right? So why am I talking about this? Because culture different है. वहाँ पे हमें यहाँ पे पैम्पर होने का आदत है, वहाँ पे there is no such concept. वहाँ पे you need to do things yourself, right? हाँ, ये जो हमारा अतिथि देवो भव वाला कॉन्सेप्ट है, वहाँ पे जाके you will feel miserable. Right? You will be like कि no, हो गया, नहीं जाना है बाहर. So, and when we talk about, let's get back to the point. So why have I explained this to you? So that you have the thing that you know how these people are trained. They are trained. But अगर यहाँ पे if you go, यहाँ पे भी होते हैं employees who are from abroad, so they are trained in a different way that you know this culture won't fit here. If we have a chef who is from China or somewhere, if he will do this, he or she will do the same thing, we have to tell them that this is not how it will work. Here our employees are our gods and we have to treat them in a certain way. Like the chef would also come and ask you, did you like it? Was there an issue with the food? So on and so forth, right? If someone can give me some other example. Some example in which there is a cultural difference how the employees behave. यहाँ पे भी मैं आपको एक लोकल एग्जांपल बोलती हूँ. जनरली रेस्टोरेंट चेन लाइक मैकडॉनल्ड्स है ना, वहाँ पे सेल्फ सर्विस होता है. वहाँ पे यू गो एंड ये जब इंडिया में जब नया नया आया था, इट वाज वेरी डिफरेंट. वी आर यूज्ड टू सिटिंग एंड ऑर्डरिंग फूड, राइट? I mean, we going and picking what we want to have and then ordering. It was a Subway is also one thing that वो भी QSR है, वहाँ जाके आप खुद ही ऑर्डर करते हैं जनरली. सो एक मैं इंडिया लेवल पे आपको ये समझा रही हूँ कि यहाँ पर भी यू कैन सी दोस थिंग्स बिकॉज दीज चेन्स आर कमिंग फ्रॉम US, राइट? सबवे हो गया, KFC हो गया, मैकडॉनल्ड्स हो गया, स्टारबक्स हो गया फॉर दैट मैटर. So as an HR, when you will be working as an HR, then you need to have certain blended strategies as well, where you will consider both centralized and localized strategies. अच्छा, जो फ़ोन पे फ़ोन यूज़ करें थोड़ी देर ना करें, हाँ आ जाइए. Okay. Then we mentioned earlier about digital and remote learning. Digital learning we know that online courses चलते हैं, हम यहाँ पे उनको बैठ के पढ़ सकते हैं. उनके लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं. ये जो लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं ना, ये दीज आर नॉट जस्ट कि एक फॉर इंस्टेंस आप हो, यू आर वर्किंग फॉर इन्फोसिस, कि एक लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम वो लोग करा रहे हैं. इट इज़ वर्थ लैक्स. इट फ्री नहीं होता, इट इज़ वर्थ दैट कंपनी इज़ पेइंग, राइट? और आपको वो क्लियर करना होता है. अगर आप वो एग्ज़ाम क्लियर नहीं करते हैं लर्निंग का, वो ट्रेनिंग का, आपके प्रमोशंस रुक जाते हैं. इन वर्स्ट केस यू आर इवन चक्ड आउट ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. सो दीज आर द एग्ज़ाम्स दैट यू नीड टू क्लियर. आपको पढ़ाया जाता है, आपको एक विंडो दी जाती है कि इस विंडो में आप एग्ज़ाम्स देंगे. दीज आर द डेट जब आप एग्ज़ाम देंगे एंड यू नीड टू क्लियर दोज exam. So these learning and training, these are these are certain extra costs that an organization has to take under consideration. अभी for instance AI आ गया है, तो जो already people who were on the desk who were using Python and so on, now they are trained how to use AI in a much better way, how to use the plugins in much better way. So these are certain learning and training thing that happen. It is irrespective of the culture. It is the general norm that happens, right? Then peer learning and knowledge sharing. Buddy system आपको पता है? Buddy system क्या होता है? Someone can tell me, if you can tell me. Today my student is very sleepy. कोई बात नहीं, आप बताओ.
So I put a drawing along with me, and he can see what I am doing, and I can teach as well as.
Do you have any other point?
When a new person joins a company, automatically or rather through the process, some other employee is assigned to them, someone senior to them, and they can show the working of the company.
Right. तो यही अगर हम क्रॉस कल्चरल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बोलें तो इज़ द सेम थिंग कि उनको समझने के लिए, समझाने के लिए कि हमारा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का कल्चर कैसा है, सपोर्ट सिस्टम कैसा है. यहाँ पे बडीज असाइंड होते हैं. So that if you are a foreign national and ma'am who's sitting behind is here, she will gonna help you that how are you working here, what is the culture, यहाँ पे क्या बोला जाता है, कैसे you have to behave in a certain way and so on and so forth. See, basics we all know, right? But एक cultural difference तो होता ही है. We know this, right? यहाँ पे जैसे छोटी सी चीज़ लो कि how the way we greet. Maybe in Delhi we greet in a different way, right? But if you go maybe towards Gujarat or if you go in Mumbai, there is a very different way. चीज़ों को बोलने का ही तरीका चेंज हो जाता है. We all know, right? वो we know किसको क्या गोलगप्पे को पानी पूरी बोल रहे हैं. तो छोटी छोटी चीज़ें हैं. There are certain nuances, but if we look at it कि छोटी छोटी चीज़ें मिला के ही there is a more collective cultural thing that happens, right? Experiential and on the job training. Do you understand what on the job training is? हाँ बताइए. करेक्ट. कि मान लो आप मैम के साथ काम कर रहे हैं और उनके साथ काम करते करते ही आप 4 चीज़ें सीख लें। आपने सोचा है कभी लोगों की प्लेसमेंट होती है, इंटर्नशिप्स होती हैं, तो उनको कभी कभी पीपीओ मिल जाता है। डू यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट अ पीपीओ इज? राइट। सो क्या होता है कि मान लो आई एम योर टीम लीडर एंड यू वर्क विद मी एज एन इंटर्न एंड आई फाइंड दैट यू नो शी इज़ कॉम्पिटेंट इनफ to stay here. While she is being trained under me, I will give her a PPO that you know you can continue to work here. In most cases, her student यही चाहते हैं कि when they are going for an internship somewhere, they get a PPO. Here, even if you go abroad for an internship, people prefer that they get an PPO. But here उनको not just काम की बात, but ऐसा भी ज़रूरी है कि वो उस culture में fit हो रहे हैं कि नहीं हो रहे हैं. Even that is very important, you know, अगर आप किसी ऐसे employee को you get into the organization who's cranky, right? So then it will be a problem, right? If you, especially in India where most of the cases it's a team effort. So when it is about team effort, we have to kind of let go of our personal issues and we have to think about the greater goal, about the team goal, right? Do you understand what Hilton does? What is Hilton into? Hilton? Hilton Hotels, right? So as we discussed earlier that if someone can read the last line please.
Example.
हाँ.
Hilton worldwide provides a management training program where training experience various hotel rooms globally, offering practical insights into the hospitality industry.
Exactly, this is what you spoke earlier. We discussed about the hospitality industry with an example that we could relate to, right? Now we will discuss the expatriate compensation structure. So why it is important? You know, it is important because it is not just about the salary that हम गए, हमने काम किया and by 31st हमारा एक मोबाइल में एक मैसेज आ गया, so and so amount is being credited into your account. It is not just about salary. It is also about that, you know, whether your efforts are considered, whether your efforts are appreciated, whether it is not just कि salary आ रहा है but also आपके अगर कुछ issues हैं that you are finding, even they are considered, right? So when we talk about expat compensation structures, we will also talk about that, you know, एम क्या है इसका? एम ये है कि अगर मैं यहाँ से किसी और कंट्री में जाके काम कर रही हूँ तो मेरे लिए फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ऑब्वियसली इट्स अ फॉरेन एनवायरनमेंट एंड व्हेन इट्स अ फॉरेन एनवायरनमेंट उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को इंश्योर करना चाहिए दैट इट्स सीमलेस ट्रांजिशन फॉर मी फ्रॉम हियर टू देयर. सो व्हाट आर द कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ एक्सपैट्रिएट कॉम्पनसेशन? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल बेस सैलरी होती है आपकी, जो भी आपकी बेस सैलरी होती है उसी पे आपके बाकी जो भी अलाउंसेस होते हैं उसी के मल्टीपल्स में, उसी के परसेंटेज पे आपको मिलते हैं. तो बेस सैलरी अगर मैं यहाँ पे जो अगर कोई बेस सैलरी है, लेकिन ऑब्वियसली यूएस में एक अलग बेस सैलरी है, मैं वहाँ जाके काम करूँगी तो ऑब्वियसली आई नीड अ डिफरेंट बेस सैलरी. एंड even in India, if you guys are working as an HR, if someone comes from abroad and works here, you have to ensure that there is a different base salary for that person. Then cost of living allowance. Cost of living allowance, जो इकोनॉमिक्स वाले मैम है वो बताएंगे. What do you understand by purchasing power parity? What do you understand by PPP? What is parity in purchasing power? Okay, can you tell me what is PPP?
According to different currencies, there is the value of the currency across different countries around the globe differs.
Right.
Suppose a person earns 30 lakh rupees here, he gives 30, he is in the 30% slab, then also he is saving around, including the PPF deduction, etc. He is saving around in hand salary around 25 lakhs or 24 lakhs, even if he earns 30 lakhs. And in US, if he has an Indian currency exchange of rupees 1 to 1.2 crores, then also he only gets after tax 60 lakhs. Therefore, and
Simple words. What is purchasing power parity? Simple. We'll just keep it simple. हाँ, और सिंपल कर देते हैं. PPP इज कि मानो मैंने एक, चलो पार्ले जी तो बाहर पता नहीं मिलता है क्या मिलता है, एक कोक है, कोक की बॉटल यहाँ पे कितने की है और वहाँ कितने की है? $1 में which is close to 82 rupees currently, तो 83, तो वहाँ उस अमाउंट में मुझे वहाँ पे क्या क्या मैं खरीद सकती हूँ और उस $1 में मैं यहाँ पे क्या क्या खरीद सकती हूँ. So we have to consider that. वहाँ पे you know if we'll go मुझे मैं I'm sure many of you are interested in working abroad. जैसे you will spend a penny there or dollar there, आपके ना एक ना इंटरनल एक कैलकुलेटर चलता रहेगा. मैंने 80 रुपये दे दिए, ये $10 का है, मैंने इस चीज़ के 800 रुपये दे दिए, ये तो वहाँ तो ये इतने का मिल जाता. If you there's a constant calculator that goes on in your head. वो you can't leave it behind, you know. There's like constantly it goes on and on. Eventually probably after 2-3 years बहुत लोगों का तो उसमें भी नहीं हो पाता है. तो वहाँ पे सैलरी मान लो आपको क्रूड एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं, वहाँ पे आपको $1,000 मिल रहे हैं फॉर अ मंथ. $1,000 यहाँ के कितने हो गए है ना? लेकिन वहाँ पे आपके $1,000 में कुछ नहीं होगा. लगेगा कि वहाँ कुछ नहीं होगा. वहाँ के इफ़ यू हैव सम पियर्स, इफ़ यू नो पीपल हु आर देयर, दे विल टेल यू, कन्वर्ट करके वो बताएंगे दैट देयर सैलरीज आर इन crores एंड वी थिंक कि वहाँ crores, बट उनके एक्सपेंसेस भी वैसे ही हैं, राइट? सो हाँ बट हाँ अभी नवंबर में there's a Black Friday sale going on because it is around Christmas. So हाँ, so everyone is like कि जो भी आपके friends होते हैं अभी this is the time we tell them, you know, Black Friday sale is going on, get us this and get us that and you know so on and so forth. So November is the time, right?
And I haven't seen any guy, mostly those who have been abroad, they are exploring with the foreign crowd. They live
Close to the community, हाँ, that is everywhere, right? यहाँ पे भी
they will not go for suppose WWE concert. They will not afford the ticket. In football matches, you can say they cannot afford to be in the
here in India also we don't want to buy. We look for कोई दे दे, कोई दे दो, right? Here also when this match was going on in Ahmedabad, everyone was like tickets, कोई दिला दो tickets, right? So this is also one of the cultural thing that we have here in India. There we are also always calculating. So here, so just so that you guys can understand the concept, are keeping it very light. So this is how it is. Purchasing power parity achieve करने के लिए हमें ensure करना होता है कि हम जो सैलरी हो हमारा स्ट्रक्चर ऐसा हो दैट उनका कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग पे ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट ना पड़े, राइट? फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू नो इफ़ यू गो टू इटली अ वेरी स्मॉल हाउस में क्या रूम इट विल कॉस्ट यू 1.5 lakhs स्मॉल, जहाँ पे एक वहीं पे आपके एक ही रूम में किचन है. जैसे यहाँ मुखर्जी नगर में पीपल स्टे ना, बच्चे पढ़ते हैं, राइट? वहाँ पे वो द सेम कॉन्सेप्ट और लिटिल फैंसी, यू हैव टू पे 1.5 lakhs or maybe more. It's like that. But then obviously वहाँ पे people do, right? Then we'll talk about the housing allowance, as I mentioned that it's different in different countries. The rent is different. Then education loans, जो हमारे जो students हैं, जो expats के kids हैं, वो यहाँ पे कैसे पढ़े? Because I have these neighbors who are expats. I've never seen their kids going to school. I've never seen them. These kids are always playing. I think they are from Australia or somewhere. They are always playing. They don't go to school. What is happening? They are having homeschooling. For them, it's okay, right? I send my child to school, but there I see they're never going to school because they are having a homeschooling concept. So, but there are also international schools here, right, where people are here working from abroad. They have to ensure that their kids are also get a better education. So there are schools who provide not CBSE or ICSE board, they have a different Cambridge board or some international board, right? Then relocation expenses, आप कहीं से shift कर रहे हैं अपना सामान, आप यहीं से अगर दिल्ली से मैं बैंगलोर ही भेजूँगी तो मुझे certain cost आएगा. Similarly, if I'm sending all my stuff from India to abroad, there is a cost. So जब भी आप relocation होती है तो HRs आपके offer letter में mention करते हैं कि आपका और आपके क्लोज बाय का, आपकी इमीडिएट फैमिली का एयर फेयर, वन वे एयर फेयर हम देंगे और आपके जो भी आपका सामान रिलोकेट करना है उसका हम देंगे, बट वो एक और क्लॉज लगाते हैं, अगर 1 साल में आपने जॉब छोड़ दी तो ये जो पूरा पैसा हमने आपके ऊपर खर्च करा है, यू नीड टू गिव इट back, right? Because it is an investment that they are doing, right? Why are they doing this? So that they can retain you. उन्होंने इतना आपके ऊपर spend किया, then obviously they expect you that you will work there for a certain period. So it is also called a lock-in period, right? That आपको इतने time पे उनको serve करना होगा. Then healthcare and insurance, we know how it is. Healthcare and insurance, अगर मान लीजिए यहाँ पे, even if you know, not just in this, even if you go abroad for a travel purpose, you have to give your medical insurance. There's a prerequisite if you want to have a visa. They ask for a medical insurance. Why? अगर आपको वहाँ कुछ हो गया, God forbid, who will pay for it? Right? Who will pay for it? Because, and they also ensure that how much money you have in your account and so on and so forth, whether you will be able to sustain there or not. Here also, if they are moving here in our country or if you guys are moving somewhere, वहाँ के HR भी insure करेंगे that your medical and health insurance are taken into consideration. Hardship allowances क्या होते हैं? So you know, I know certain people when there was a parliament which was being made in Afghanistan. तो यहाँ के बहुत सारे engineers, इंडिया ने help किया था अफगानिस्तान को. So many engineers who were serving here in PWD, CPWD, they were sent there. वहाँ पर there were enormous security issues. Obviously, we all know why, and they were paid more. Why? Because these are hardship allowances. आप सर्व कर रहे हैं, but आप अपना एक तरह से you are putting your life at stake, right? You are putting your life at stake and you are going and working there. So they ensure that you also get in hardship allowances for your security and so on and so forth. In certain countries, you can't step out after. कि आप प्लीज़ 5 बजे के बाद you can't step out, after 6 o'clock you can't step out because of the security reasons. See, अभी हम जब बात करते हैं ना, we generally talk about tech, pharma, तो ये organizations, these come on the top of the mind, but there are other domains. Yeah. हाँ, लद्दाख posted and also this कि अगर हम यहाँ से किसी को जैसे ऑपरेशन हुआ अभी जो था, कौन सा ऑपरेशन था that happened? जो अभी इंडियंस को हम वहाँ से जब during this war we have got people back to our country. हाँ, तो उसमें क्या था, अपने यहाँ के पर्सनल्स गए थे, तो obviously they were also given the hardship allowance. NDTV और बहुत सारे न्यूज़ चैनल के जो जर्नलिस्ट हैं, they were so brave. Even they went there in such in such conditions and they were reporting from there. So they were also given the, I'm sure they were given the hardship allowances.
I have a question related to healthcare and.
हाँ, please.
So for example, I work for a MNC company which is Canada, and they are thinking of sending me abroad, and I have a medical insurance. So do I have to take medical insurance, like international medical insurance, or like?
Of course. See, you need to check. अगर आपका जो यहाँ का जो मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस है, आप पढ़ते नहीं हो, किसी में भी लास्ट में फटाफट एक चीज़ बोल देते हैं, टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस अप्लाई. सो यू नीड टू चेक जो आपका यहाँ मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस है, इज इट कवरिंग फॉर इफ देर आर एनीथिंग दैट हैपन टू यू, इफ यू आर ब्रॉट, राइट. सो जनरली इट्स बेटर दैट वो जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो आपको इन्वाइट करती है, दे इंश्योर दैट यू गेट अ मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स. Then balance between home and host country compensation benchmarks. As I said earlier, purchasing power parity is one of the key reasons why there is a requirement of a compensation package which caters the need of everyone, right? कि आपको ऐसा ना लगे अगर आप बाहर जाके if you are working that you are at a loss. If you guys are making certain notes कर लो आप, ऐसे I will share. नहीं, I will share एक साथ यार, I'll do it. अभी एग्जाम से पहले मैं कर दूँगी. I was little busy with doing other things, but I will ensure. I have your number. I'll share. Don't worry. So now balancing equity and incentive in expatriate compensation. What do you understand by this? दिख रहा है वैसे? So it is important because कोई इंडियन है जापान में जाके यू वर्किंग मे बी समवेयर इन टोक्यो और समवेयर इन क्योटो, तो उनका जो कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग है उसको हमें एडजस्ट करना पड़ेगा इन लाइन विद द लोकल मैनेजरियल स्टाफ. वहाँ के जो लोकल्स हैं उनके अकॉर्डिंग हमको मैनेज करना पड़ेगा, राइट. देन इंसेंटिवाइजिंग द इंटरनेशनल असाइनमेंट्स. इफ समवन इज सेंट abroad for an international assignment, do you understand that how valuable that employee would be? Because when you are in an organization and if you are representing your organization somewhere abroad, that means that you are creme de la creme of that organization. That's why you are given the opportunity to go abroad and serve, right? So when you are gone for certain assignments, so why are you given extra for that? Because for example, sir is based here, इनकी family है यहाँ पे, he is going for an assignment abroad. Here फैमिली ऑब्वियसली यू नो आप एक मेंबर को आप बाहर भेज रहे हैं टू सर्व, तो फैमिली भी थोड़ा डिस्टर्ब तो होती है, वी ऑल नो. सो दे वांट टू कॉम्पनसेट फॉर इट दैट दो वी आर सेंडिंग यू समवेयर अब्रॉड बट वी विल इंश्योर दैट योर फैमिली इज टेकन केयर ऑफ एंड द इंसेंटिव इज lucrative enough that you take up that assignment, right? Because why are they sending you from here? Because if they will have a new employee there, उसको ट्रेन करना, उसका कॉस्ट करना, बिकॉज हर एक एम्प्लॉय के साथ एक कॉस्ट वी ऑल नो कि अटैच होती है, राइट. देन फॉर एग्जांपल टाटा ग्रुप क्या करता है, इनके जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं, जैसे स्पेशली जब ये कौन सी इनकी कार है जो इनका टाइप है, हाँ ठीक है, पता है आप लोगों को, तो है ना, वी ऑल नो, राइट. सो उन्होंने भी इंश्योर किया दैट उनके जो एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं हु आर दी एक्सपर्ट्स, they have a seamless acceptance in the organization, so that because it's a huge tie-up, right, it's a huge alliance, Tata and Jaguar की जो alliance थी, right. तो उनके allowances, उनके बच्चों का schooling, travel etc. is taken under consideration. What is tax equalization? Tax, we understand. See, if you will work for an organization like WHO or UN, वहाँ पे बहुत अलग होता है, वहाँ पे there is no tax concept. अगर उन्होंने आपके पैकेज में लिख दिया 1 CR, you will get 1 CR. यहाँ पे लिख दिया 1 CR, कितना आएगा अपना, we all know, ठीक है. अपना there are various taxes that happen, a certain part is given for NPS, so on and so forth. Tax equalization क्यों ज़रूरी है? क्योंकि अगर कोई एम्प्लॉई है जो यहाँ काम कर रहा है और वहाँ पर भी मान लो कुछ टैक्स उनको देना पड़ रहा है, तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो यहाँ पे कुछ ज़्यादा ही टैक्स दे रहे हैं. बट ऐसा भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि बिकॉज यू आर वर्किंग बिटवीन टू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन तो आप कम टैक्स दे रहे हैं. देयर हैज़ टू बी अ सर्टन स्ट्रक्चर इन विच द टैक्स सिस्टम इज टेकन अंडर कंसिडरेशन. तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल महिंद्रा एंड महिंद्रा में रेगुलरली रिव्यू होता है कि जो टैक्सेस जो पे किए जा रहे एक्सपैट्स को, are they in line with the tax structure of that particular country? As I mentioned earlier about overpayment or underpayment, right? So in case of Reliance Industries, उनके जो भी Middle East का जो है, we know that there is not a lot of taxation that happens there. तो यहाँ पे जब वो लोग काम करते हैं तो इंश्योर करते हैं that taxes are taken under consideration, either someone is underpaid or overpaid, और there are various tax regimes. यहाँ पे XYZ taxes हैं, वहाँ पे ABC हो सकते हैं, right? तो आप एक काम करिए, होमवर्क लिखिए, और होमवर्क लिखने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि नेक्स्ट क्लास में गायब हो जाएंगे, ठीक है. द होमवर्क इज दैट यू हैव टू जस्ट रीड अबाउट इट गाइज, बिकॉज वाई आई एम टेलिंग यू, इट शुड नॉट बी कि यहाँ पे पढ़ के बाहर गए और यहाँ से निकलते निकलते ही इट्स आउट ऑफ आवर माइंड, राइट. सो द होमवर्क इज दैट यू नीड टू लर्न अबाउट कि हमारे कौन से सिमिलर टैक्सेस हैं इन मिडल ईस्ट एंड इंडिया और कौन से डिफरेंट टैक्सेस हैं, ठीक है. एक टेबल, एक थोड़ा स्ट्रक्चर में आप लेके आएंगे और नेक्स्ट क्लास में मैं पूछूंगी एंड होपफुली आई वुड लव टू सी द सेम फेसेस. लिख लिया आप लोगों ने? Now we will discuss about communication and negotiation in a cross-cultural landscape. What do you understand by communication? Communication. हाँ हाँ, अभी ऐसे डेमो करके कम्युनिकेशन नहीं बताना है, हमें बताना है कम्युनिकेशन क्या, मुझे बताना है आपको. What do you mean by communication? Correct. Why is it important? Communication. Because it is the way we communicate that we express, as ma'am rightly said, this is the way we express our ideas. हाँ, exactly. We present our point of view. जब स्टार्टिंग ऑफ द क्लास में मैंने आपको बताया था कि कम्युनिकेशन करने के वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन होते हैं और नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन होते हैं. नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन कैसे होते हैं? जैसे एग्ज़ाम्स में आप लोग अगर किसी को आसपास पूछना होता है तो वो नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन में आ जाता है ना. वन का सेकंड पार्ट, ठीक है. So this is like, it's a non-verbal communication. For instance, if someone is standing like this, it means a very close energy, that probably that person is not open for a discussion. Someone is using more of the hands, it means that person is probably trying to express more, trying to communicate more, right? So these are certain ways of non-verbal communication. Verbal communication, obviously we all know, but in that also there are ways that how we are communicating. Are we assertive? Are we a little polite? Are we borderline rude? एक ही बात को कहने के कई तरीके होते हैं. We know. For example, I tell her कि अच्छा if I ask her something and if she is not able to answer probably, I have a choice that I will obviously not exercise, that I can be now, how come you don't know, I'm teaching you this and you still don't know, so on and so forth. But what second way is, it's okay, we will learn, it's fine, we will learn. As sir said, ma'am हिंदी में बोल सकते हैं, बिल्कुल बोल सकते हैं, ठीक है, but बाद में इंग्लिश में बोलेंगे. So these are the certain ways of communicating. Similarly, when the same setup is in an organization, there also there are verbal and non-verbal communication. Especially in our Indian setup, we are more into non-verbal communication. We are not, we ensure that itna open communication हम लोग, here people who are too straightforward are at times not taken into a good way. Okay, how can you be like? So we all know when we see interviews of Ashneer, he's very straightforward, and then you know Ashneer, right? You guys, right? So when he calls spade is spade, so it is taken, how he's talking about eventually people are accepting the way he talks to people, right? I mean, you see, there's a pros and cons for both the things. At times, इतनी ज़रूरत भी नहीं होती है to be that straightforward.
They are not teaching in the curriculum the skills. School level, college level, you will see only on the top notch colleges will teach and give you the presentation skills. But in the hierarchy, if you come down, see there is a lacking, the communication and the leadership skills.
हाँ, exactly. So इसीलिए मैं चाहती हूँ कि एटलीस्ट ये क्लास कम्युनिकेशन हम लीडरशिप स्किल्स में बहुत ऊपर हो, right? Right, no, because this is the time, because if someone is paying attention to you, I can also come teach you XYZ and I can leave, right? But I want to ensure that I see all of you as future leaders, and you also have to see yourself as future leaders. Jitna seriously you will take the class, itna seriously you will take yourself, and it's vice versa, right? So continuing with the class, so why this is important, understanding the cultural nuances, because tailoring communication styles to respect cultural sensitivities. Germans जो होते हैं, they are more straightforward, as I mentioned earlier, and Indians are more कि कुछ अच्छी चीज़ नहीं लगी, for example, we'll go silent. This is the way, right? Rather than communicating, we will communicate in a different way. If we do not approve of something, we will go silent, right? Then non-verbal communication, it gives a different cues of different, as I mentioned earlier, a nod or a shake hand. Here probably like Japanese, they bow down, here we do this, there are different ways of greeting, right? They will give you side hugs, or they will do a shake hand. So we have to ensure that if people are coming here or if we are going there, we get used to their cultural things as well. We understand their cultural things. Then contextual communication. What do you understand by contextual communication? What is contextual communication? Contextual word किससे आया? Context से. Context क्या होता है? कि किस context में बात हो रही है. At times, it is not necessary that you will have a verbal or a non-verbal communication. At times, you have to understand the contextual communication as well. कि हम किस context में बात कर रहे हैं. उस context में जैसे मैंने example दिया, someone can read the example please. आप पढ़ें. Please be loud and the entire class should listen.
Business culture, high content.
Beta, please be loud.
Japanese business culture, high content, often require reading between
The
the
lines.
lines, a skill that Indian business have adapted to during a negotiation with Japanese firms.
Do you understand the proverb reading between the lines? हाँ जी. हाँ, reading between the lines की कुछ मैंने बोला या मान लो आपकी friend ने कुछ बोला, कुछ मान लो there is some issue, but she is not saying it directly. But then you have to understand that what the context क्या है, ये किस context में बोल रही है ना? ये क्या, हाँ ये समझ, generally men don't understand कि ये कौन सा context में क्या बात हो गई. Girls are good at it, they will understand that this is the context, and contextually हम सीधा नहीं बोलेंगे अरे that day you did this and that, but then you will say हम उधर गए फिर ऐसा हो गया, and then you will understand, right? So this is the contextual understanding that you have. So this is also a skill that one needs to develop. These concepts might look like कि हाँ ठीक है, these are very simple concepts, but if you dig deeper, there are people who are doing intensive studies on verbal and non-verbal communications, and of course the contextual communications. Then we will talk about the negotiations in a cross-cultural context. Why is negotiation important? See, negotiation is important because it has to be a win-win for both. अगर negotiation किसी का win-lose हो गया, lose-win हो गया, lose-lose हो गया, then there is a problem. Negotiation important है so that you express what you are looking forward in that particular context, in that particular setup, right? So if you have noticed, जब कभी foreign nationals आते हैं इंडिया में, so even at a country level, let's talk about the diplomatic level, we take them to Agra, right? कि आप इंडिया आएँ, हम आपको हमारे कल्चर से वाकिफ़ करवाएंगे. कोई भी बाहर से आएगा, we will take them to Agra, क्योंकि it is our heritage, we take them there कि so that they understand the culture of India, they understand कि how because what does it represent? This represent that how humongous or how rich is our economy, right? So understanding the other party's cultural background is समझाने की कोशिश करते हैं, उनको हम एक थाली खिलाते हैं that they find really spicy, but उन्हें किया, this is अभी recently we have seen it was the video was all around, अभी मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा है, मेरे को recall होगा तो मैं बताऊंगी. हाँ, right, ठीक है, चलो we'll not discuss that further, you all know the context, right? तो वहाँ पे भी we ensure that when people were coming here, उनको हम अपनी culture से we make them accustomed to our culture, right? So why is this important? Because before we enter into certain negotiation, we have to take care that we are on the same page, the person is comfortable. फिर ही उनसे बात करेंगे ना, ये नहीं कि someone has just landed कि आओ चलो आओ बैठे चलो बात कर लेते हैं जो है, let's cover up the deal, and it won't work like that, because end of the day it's humans who are you are dealing with, the unit is human beings, right? And to understand the psyche of a human, how would they respond, what are their likes and dislikes, it is extremely important. Building relationships, we all know that every time here also in our country when there is a Republic Day, we call our chief guest from different country. Why do we do that? We do that so that we build long-term relationships with them. Similarly, here, you know, for example, I'll tell you, this is the top of my mind example. BMW के जो head है, वो obviously he's from Germany, I think, right? But here also when he, once these guys, they came to our college and we thought that, you know, they would obviously, there was some case study which was happening and these guys came. So I was supposed to meet the, you know, the head, India head. And I thought that he would come with by his BMW and I will welcome him and so on. But I was like, where is he? Where is the car? He came by his bike. Here you will not find, you know, CEOs who are going Indian roads पे वो गाड़ी चला के जाएंगे और they'll have a chauffeur and all. He came by a bike and he asked me कि ma'am, could you please tell me where the restroom is? I have to remove my gears and I have to wear my jacket for the event that was happening. And we were like, अच्छा. So we can't imagine na, you going, some CEO going for some event on a bike, but they're okay with it, right? So this is how we build the relationships, that we have to appreciate and we have to acknowledge that it's okay, you know, they have their certain ways to deal with things, right? Then adapting these strategies. उनकी, जैसे मैंने पहले ही शुरू में ही बोला, confrontational क्या होता है एंड कोऑपरेटिव क्या होता है, कौन बताएगा? मैम आप बताएं, आप दोनों? हाँ, आप दोनों. जिसको मैं पूछूँ ना, मतलब वो कुछ कर रहा है क्लास में, ठीक है? तो आप समझ जाया करो, अगर देखो भी ना तो मैं किसको बोल रही हूँ. तो आप बताएंगे व्हाट इज कॉन्फ्रंटेशन और आप बताएंगे कोऑपरेटिव. बताइए. What do we understand by confrontational? This word comes from confront. Okay, no problem. ठीक है. So what are the different styles of confrontation and cooperative? For example, एक काम मैंने इनको टास्क दिया और probably टास्क में कुछ issue हुआ and I just go straight to her and tell her, why was this not completed? Why you didn't do it this way? Why was there an error? Why didn't you give it to me a report on time? And there's a different way, okay, that I can be cooperative. Okay, I'm sure there must be some reason that you were not able to deliver. Probably you had some issue back at home. Fine, you were not able to do it. Tell me if I can help you in a certain way. If you require my help, let's do it together. There are two different ways, right? Culturally also, various countries you will find is very confrontational. They mean business. They don't care about होगा कुछ घर पे. We don't care about it. We mean business. We have given you a certain task. We have given you a deadline, and you need to deliver on that particular deadline. But here we have to, like for example, the Tata's Jaguar and Land Rover जो deal हुई थी. So we need to understand the respect to the British customs and business practices, along with you know, that ultimately led to a successful acquisition. You understand the difference between alliance, acquisition and joint ventures? Yes. You understand? Who will tell me what an alliance is? What do you mean? You understand the concept of alliance, JVs and mergers? हाँ, तो दो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन साथ में आके काम करते हैं for a certain assignment and then they go back to their respective. दूसरा होता है joint venture, दो entities आए and they make a new organization. एक होता है merger, दो organization साथ में आ गए, merge हो गए. एक होता है acquire होता है, generally it happens in these days, एक startup है, एक बड़ी organization उसको acquire कर लेती है. And see, so this is also, these are basic things though, but जब कभी आप economic times या business standards, if you will read, so these words, you know, you will find them. So अभी you need to enhance your business dictionary also, right? So चलो लिख लो एक और homework.
What's the difference between merger and acquisition?
Okay, so merger is कि दो companies merge हो गई. For example, मेरा एक organization है, आपका एक organization है, और ये companies merge हो गई. अब साथ में हो गई, अब आपका relevance है, but हम साथ में काम करेंगे. आपके employees भी हैं, सब कुछ है, साथ में हम लोग काम करेंगे. Acquisition मैंने आपको acquire ही कर लिया. अभी मेरे हिसाब से मैं चाहूँ तो आपके employees को I can check them out, right? It's like now it's like my company. You have no ownership. अभी your ownership is correct, right? हाँ. So this is So guys, you need to you need to up your game. How will you up your game? You need to be accustomed to the business language and business dictionary. So you need to, when you read, अगर आप लोगों को time मिले तो you can read Economic Times or Mint at least once a week. You start reading because it is important, because अगर आप जब next you will go into for interviews also, let's start preparing for it. ये नहीं इंटरव्यू कर ले, आज देख रहे हैं चलो अखबार खोल के थोड़ा देख लेते हैं क्या कहीं कोई कुछ पूछ ले, राइट. सो यू नीड टू जो भी वर्ड्स आते हैं, यू नीड टू नो एक्सपैट्स, व्हाट आर कॉम्पिटेंसीज, कॉम्पिटिटिव एडवांटेज, these are certain terminologies that will come really handy. All right girls, are we on the same page? Yeah, girls in the class, are we on the same page? Yes बोल दो यार. ठीक है. Adapting strategies ये हमने पढ़ लिया है. Now it's time for the case study. और case study क्या नहीं होती है? Right. और हम क्या करेंगे? 3. ठीक है, चलो हो जाओ डिवाइड अपने आप फटाफट. एक काम करते हैं, आप लोगों का एक ग्रुप कर देते हैं, ग्रुप 1. वो रहेगा उस पर, डोंट वरी, डोंट कर लो यार डिवाइड सब लोग. हो जाओ, साथ में बैठना है आप लोगों को, 3 ग्रुप्स. ठीक है, यू गाइज यू 6 यू स्टे टुगेदर. ठीक है, आप लोग पीछे, आप लोग सारे साथ में, एंड प्रॉब्ली यू कैन कम इन देयर ग्रुप एंड ऑल ऑफ यू आर टुगेदर. ऑलराइट, एंड आई वांट वन टीम लीडर हु विल रिप्रेजेंट द ग्रुप. Who will represent the group? Who is the most shy person in the group? चलो ठीक है. You will represent your group, ma'am? You just guys ignored me. You just don't look at me. Okay, so sir, you will be the team leader. All right. I think last class you were also the ठीक है. So you be the team leader. Here who will be? आप नहीं. हाँ. You want to be? You've been once, ना? You've been once. Sir, you will be. Okay? ठीक है. और आपके ग्रुप में sir you will be. हाँ. ठीक है. So now first question is for you guys. The second one is for you and third one is for you. So we have 2 cases here. One is the success story and the other case would be the failure story, right? So yeah, we don't have much time. So there are 3 questions. So हमें सबसे पहले किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पे क्या फोकस करना है, whether it is a tech company, it's an automotive, right? So उसके accordingly we will prepare our further strategies. So what exactly is written in this case study is that they are trying to align their performance management systems along with the goals of the organization, right? So this is the premise that I've set, because ultimately the goal is कि जो भी आप performance management करें, learning and training developments करें, कुछ भी आप ऐसा करें, it should ultimately lead to the progress of the business. It should enhance the firm performance, right? So you don't have much time, you just have probably 10 minutes. हाँ ग्रुप डिस्कशन है, यू गाइस जस्ट सिट, पीछे आगे आ जाओ, आप लोग बैठो. You can also come आगे. And you need to talk to everyone, yeah? This is the way you will develop a camaraderie also, right? You have to, in your head, you have to be the HR managers, you have to be the key person, you have to be the chief person who is developing the HR, strategies. Turn ho jao, discuss karo. And wake up. I know it's noon, but so हमारा इसमें context है India plus Germany, right? Tech है, tech firm है. Even in exams when you'll get a case study ना, तो आप जो भी keywords हैं उसके just underline the keywords and mention and then start. Okay. Context. Chalo, let's discuss the first question. What mechanisms does Zentra Tech employ to ensure effective communication and policy alignment between global strategy and local HR teams? What did they do? Come here. Let's discuss. Now, what did they do?
For effective communication, we can organize a virtual meet.
For the class, for the entire class, listen to him. We are discussing the first question, right? So here we will be discussing that what were the things that they did.
we can organize a virtual meet for effective communication, and we motivate the employees for taking the initiative and giving their innovative ideas. And
Here we are training the HR managers because ultimately जो भी policies execute करेंगे वो managers execute करेंगे, right? Yeah, please go on. Anyone else? Please go. Come. Yes.
We can also include in this question, we can provide training for employees for particular training for skill set, or we can provide hurdles, activity, group activity for better productivity. Okay, so this can be increased.
And what all did they do? They gave training to their HRs, right? ठीक है, क्योंकि इनमें क्या मेंशन, थैंक यू सो, क्योंकि इन्होंने क्या मेंशन किया, बिकॉज दे हैव वर्ल्ड वाइड ऑपरेशंस, बट जो उनके स्टैट्स होंगे जहाँ पे दे विल बी इवैल्यूएटेड, द परफॉर्मेंसेज वुड बी इवैल्यूएटेड, इट हैज़ टू बी consistent, right? It needs to have a global view but a very localized approach. All right, let's discuss second question. How could local adaptations of, are we ready for the second question, of global HR policies impact employee morale and performance? देखिए when it talks about, see first question में हमारा जो keyword था वो था effective communication and policy alignment. What, ठीक है, तो अभी जब effective communication हो गया, so we have to take care कि हम ऐसा एक strategy बनाएं या ऐसा system बनाएं जहाँ पे एक effective communication हो सके, right? Are we here? Effective communication कैसे होगा? If we have, you know, quarterly discussions हो रहे हैं to build new strategies, how to go about them. When we talk about policy alignments or digital platforms भी हो सकते हैं for constant communication, internal chat systems होते हैं for, you know, constant communications and to share the best practices. फिर policy alignments के लिए क्या करेंगे कि जो भी local, जैसे मैंने पहले बोला, that our local approach is aligned with our global approach is aligned with our local execution, right? Now let's discuss the second question. How could local adaptations of global HR policies impact employee morale and performance? Please come.
first point is we have to adapt to the shift timings.
To the class.
First point is to adapt to the shift timings.
And
Second is compensation equalization. And third is tax equalization. And difference in training strategy will be there between India and Germany. And we can assign mentors and peers on the job training.
correct. So let's add to what he said, okay? When we are talking, thank you so much. So when we are talking about the impact on employee morale and performance, how do we work most effectively? What is the, you know, in general also one of the key issues that human beings have? मुझे कोई नहीं समझता, right? Employees को भी यही लगता है that we are not understood. But if in an organization we have certain policies in which it looks that, you know, you are being understood, your cultural nuances is understood, it obviously would impact their performance, because the whole issue is that the unit is human wants to be understood, that way we deliver better, right? The other thing could be that when employees see that global company recognizes their value of the local culture, they feel welcomed, they feel at home, and they have a certain sense of belonging and they have certain loyalty towards their company. Now let's discuss the third question. What could be the potential risk of Zentratek's global local HR synergy program and how might they mitigate? इसमें हमारा कीवर्ड क्या है? In this question, what is the keyword? Risk. हाँ, तो let's discuss. हाँ.
बेसिकली मैम इसमें दो रिस्क
हाँ, ठीक है.
फर्स्ट इज टाइम इशू
हाँ,
एंड सेकंड वन इज कल्चरल डिफरेंस.
ठीक है.
टाइम इशू को जैसे हम टैकल कर सकते हैं, जैसे वी कैन मैनेज देयर शिफ्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर flexible hours.
ठीक है.
And in cultural difference, there should be one common language, so everyone can easily understand that language.
हाँ, okay. And what are the ways to mitigate it? You understand what the meaning of mitigate is? To reduce. हाँ, ठीक है. हाँ, ठीक है. बताइए. कैसे आप रिस्क को इन्हीं रिस्क को how will you mitigate them?
मैम टाइम जैसे टाइम उनकी शिफ्ट के अकॉर्डिंग हो जाएगा.
ठीक है.
जो फ्लेक्सिबल आवर्स होगा और जो लैंग्वेज है, जो मतलब इशू आ रहा है, जैसे कोई जर्मन है, जैसे इसमें इंडियंस भी हैं, तो उसमें फिर क्या है कि एक कॉमन लैंग्वेज होगी जिसमें हर कोई इजीली एक दूसरे से कम्युनिकेट कर सके.
Right, thank you. Yeah. So what we can also add here is, at times when in future also you will notice this, right? When you guys would go and work, probably आपको कुछ टाइम ये समझने में लगेगा कि मेरे बॉस की मुझसे एक्सपेक्टेशन क्या है, राइट? कि what is he or she is expecting out of me. So especially in जब generally ऐसा होता है तो आप सोचो when it is a cross cultural domain, then to understand the expectations is much difficult. So the potential risk could be, as an HR, what policies that we have crafted the policies, are they being implemented properly? This can be one of the risks, right? The second would be that, जो मेरे employees हैं, उनके expectations उनको समझ में आ रहे हैं that what is expected out of them, कि whether the expectation is to just complete the work and rest, you can do whatever you want, or the expectation is that you be on time, leave on time, do this, do extra things, so on and so forth. This has to be taken care as well. This is also one other risk, right? And the other risk could be कि आपका the dilution of global culture. Probably you have a global culture but वो skewed है. Do you understand what a skewness is? कि it is more towards कि आप एक particular culture की चीज़ें ज़्यादा adapt कर रहे हैं and you are neglecting the other things. So how we gonna mitigate them is that so that we are having regular audits. ठीक है? Audit कर रहे हैं हम, we are giving them proper guidelines, we are informing them that this is expected out of you, for instance for local adaptations, and then we are having certain training programs where they will be trained by the local HR managers who fully understand the global strategy and they can customize it accordingly. So guys, here I would like to say that all your answers were really good, well thought, but the perspective that I am giving you, you need to think on those lines as well. In case study or generally also, there is no right or wrong answer. It is the way you will represent, it is the way you will put your thoughts out. So in the exams also, you have to ensure that whatever you are writing the paper, who will be checking it, you have to ensure that whatever you want to communicate, it is legible, it is clear, and your thoughts are put in a very different and in a very good way, clear headings, the context ho, approach ho, clearly you need to mention so that whomsoever would be the checker of your sheet, they should know that you are well informed with how to deal with a case study, right? And क्यों होती है case studies? मैं share कर दूँ आपके साथ, ठीक है ना? तो आप इसमें से you can have a cube, right? Don't worry. Why do we have case studies? Right? These case studies are so that you have here in a classroom setting, you have a certain idea about how it works in the organizations, right? And why it is not just for the case studies are not just for the students. The case studies are also for people who want to have they want to have their own startup. So what they do, वो कोई 4 startups के बारे में वो लोग पढ़ते हैं, उनकी case study को study करते हैं so that they don't do the similar mistake. So this is the second case, but it is the failure story. So please read the case, and now let's do one thing, the same thing, 1 2 3, 1 2 and 3, right? So ठीक है, आप लोग पढ़ लीजिए केस एक बारी. Brew and bean. इट्स अ ब्रू कॉफ़ी ब्रू कंपनी. उन्होंने सिमिलर चीज़ जो वो यूरोपियन एंड अमेरिकन मार्केट्स में यूज़ करते हैं, दे हैव जस्ट कॉपी पेस्टेड द इंटायर सिस्टम, द स्ट्रैटेजी इन इंडिया. बट यहाँ पे वी हैव मोर ऑफ द टी लवर्स. मोर देन कॉफ़ी वी प्रेफर टीज़. कॉफ़ीज़ हम लोग कब पीते हैं? द यंग क्राउड, वी ऑल नो, when we go out, right? That's the time that we prefer a coffee. Then we are like, no, 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 we don't have tea, we'll have coffee. Cappuccino, frappe, latte, right? But वैसे हम लोग चाय पीते हैं, we are chai lovers. But see, coming back to the case, so they had their entire operations in India, where they did not take under consideration that India is a tea-loving nation. So one size fits all approach इन्होंने लगाई यहाँ पर इंडिया में, एंड ऑब्वियसली इट वाज अ फेलियर. ल्यूकवार्म रिसेप्शन मिला.
So group 2 needs to answer second questions, right?
Right. You understand what is a in and out thing? What is a quick in and out spots? So it's like, so there, you know, you have driveways, right? There are driveways. You order a coffee while you are still in your car, and you just get your coffee and you move for work. Here we need a place to sit, a place to work, right? Here I don't think so you guys have ever seen that there is a driveway kind of a place where you're just moving. Probably I've just seen, maybe once I saw this. Maybe I saw one in McDonald's also while going to. So they have, but there also they have a seating है वहाँ पर, but they also have kiosk, but there is no seating. There is only, you just go park your car, but not even park your car, you just halt there, take your drink, take your coffee, and you move on, right? But here it did not resonate well with the Indian consumers' preference was more for leisure and more, you know, like we can talk over a coffee, so on and so forth. ठीक है. In what ways could cultural sensitivity impact the effectiveness of? ठीक है. आपने इनका ओवरसाइट पढ़ा, आप इनका ओवरसाइट पढ़िए. इन्होंने क्या मिस्टेक किया था? इन्होंने लोकल्स की हायरिंग में प्रॉब्लम किया था, राइट? तो जब आप लोकल की हायरिंग में प्रॉब्लम कर रहे हैं, यू विल नॉट अंडरस्टैंड दी कल्चरल सेंसिटिविटी. कौन बताएगा उनको? अगर ये यूके या यूएस बेस्ड कंपनी इंडिया में आ रही है जो कॉफ़ी बेचना चाहती है यहाँ पर, उन्हें कौन बताएगा कि यहाँ के प्रेफरेंसेस क्या है? यहाँ के लोकल्स ही बताएंगे ना, राइट? तो उनके ओवरसाइट क्या था? द HR टीम फेल्ड टू लोकलाइज देयर हायरिंग एंड ट्रेनिंग प्रोसेसेस, राइट? Leading to a workforce that was not fully attuned to local custom. Probably they didn't employ people from here, they got it from there, right? They asked, they relocated their employees from UK and US and they got them here. But obviously they would not understand, you know, that what are the, probably here we want a little extra sugar, or here people don't even know the concept, the difference between cappuccino and a latte. किसमें ज़्यादा मिल्क है, किसमें कम मिल्क है, कितना उसमें कितना ml शॉट उसमें जाता है. तो यहाँ पे the awareness is obviously not that much, right? For us it's like a coffee, right? You just go and we just have coffee. When they give you कि हाँ ये then we're like कि हाँ चलो ठीक है, जो सस्ती वाली है वो दे दो, right?
So basically हमें इसमें impact बताना है.
हाँ, आपको बताना है कि उसमें कैसे impact हुआ. बिजनेस कम होगा, है ना? परफॉर्मेंस, उनकी जो परफॉर्मेंस है जो employees की performance है, for instance, if I am an employee, I am from US, I am working here, you are my customer, you come to me that you want certain customization, and I go like, ma'am, I can't give you that. You will be like, okay, then I'll not buy, I'll move somewhere else. Right? So here I'm feeling I'm not able to understand the cultural sensitivity of what you have, right? So yeah. Can we discuss the first question? Chalo, let's discuss the first question. How might Brew and Bean have better adapted its business and HR strategy to fit in the Indian market? वो ऐसा क्या कर सकते थे that they would have better adapted to the Indian market? आप बताएं इस बारी. आप बताएंगे? हाँ, बताइए. And class, we are all classmates. If our fellow classmate does any mistake, not a mistake per se, but have certain verbal communication issue, we will give that person a chance that it's all right. We will not judge. Okay, let's just set a premise. We are here learners and we will learn. So I don't want any of my students to hesitate. आप बताइए मैम. बेटा थोड़ा loud हो जाओ आप. It's for the entire class. और नॉर्मली आजकल बोलते हैं कि ऐप से अपना ऑर्डर कर दो, लेकिन कुछ पीपल लोग होते हैं वो उनको नहीं आता. तो उनके लिए फैसिलिटीज होनी चाहिए. एम्प्लॉय को मोटिवेट करना है. और जैसे हमने कहा था इंडियन कल्चर में रिस्पेक्ट देते हैं कस्टमर को, तो वो देना चाहिए. Correct. Very good. Very good. I'm really impressed with this answer. Yes, as our student rightly said that we need to give the respect. We all look forward because we are used to that cultural thing, right? That when we go somewhere, we are treated respectfully. So they have to ensure that also. And as she rightly said, कि जो भी practices हैं वो बहुत localized होनी चाहिए, हाँ? और उनको they have to have a better understanding of the Indian consumer behavior and their preferences. And they need to tailor their stores also accordingly. कि seating कैसा होता है? Do you understand there is a difference between the seating? कहीं पे you will see a round table, कहीं पे you will see a square, right? If next time if anyone of you go to Starbucks, so okay homework है, चलो लिख लो. बेशक पीना मत, बस एक बार एक चक्कर लगा के आ जाना. Just go and see कि what kind of tables do they have. Are they circular or are they square, round? हाँ? हाँ तो अभी होमवर्क है, ठीक है? हाँ. See, you need to be very observant. You need to be very observant, right? So this is how you will enhance your observational skills. That how do these people work, because most of the people there, they are working on their laptops. Round table है, square है, because इनका एक certain connotation होता है, right? If it's a square, there are 4 people. Circle है, probably it's a bigger table. ज़्यादा लोग भी बैठ सकते हैं उस पे, right? चलो second question. In what ways could cultural sensitivity impact the effectiveness of performance management system? हाँ आप आइए.
So the question is, in what ways could cultural sensitivity impact the effectiveness of the performance management system? So the key point here is cultural sensitivity. When the organization came into India with operations, and India has just copy pasted all the each and everything which they used to in their host country, in their own country, which didn't work here because in Indian culture we prefer chai over coffee, and it's quite often when we go somewhere outside we prefer coffee. Otherwise, in our homes and often in domestic culture we prefer chai. So one point. In here, the organization could have modified their ideology or strategy. They could have been created a mixture of chai and coffee, somewhere like it, so that they can manage their performance and sales numbers. The second point related to this is, though the point was they have just copy pasted their entire structure. So which also includes cost. If they are selling a coffee with $2 in their home market, and wherein they are just pricing the same coffee with $2, which is costing somewhere around 165 to 70 rupees for a single coffee. And in Indian market, we can't afford, like maximum folk and maximum of the people like who generally go outside, they cannot afford to have a coffee with like 200 rupees or 150, 160 rupees. Ideally, they could have adjusted the price point as per the Indian standard. They could have explored the market. They would have seen the peer organization like CCD, Chai or somewhere, what are their pricing structure, and they could have modified these things accordingly. So
Thank you so much. It is a very good answer, but I think we forgot we are not in a marketing class.
Yeah.
We are in an HR class, right? So here,
One point ये हो सकता है that we are in welcoming nature. मतलब Indians are more like welcoming कि host की तरह वो behave करते हैं.
see guys, when I'm talking about these cases, the whole idea is that you are HR managers, you are not customers, right? And you are not the people who are serving them. You are the HR managers who are creating the strategies, right? So in this case, though whatever he said is a wonderful answer, when it comes to marketing, it's a great answer. But here we are HR managers. So here we would discuss that, जो हमारे frontline employees हैं, who are taking the orders, if they are not trained well, if they are not trained as per the cultural nuances, like I said, you come with some order, I'm not able to deliver that order, I'm not able to understand what they're ordering, मेरी company का loss होगा. अगर company का loss होगा, तो it would impact my performance. If it is expected that me being at the front end, I get a per day business of maybe a 50,000, and if it reduces to probably 10,000, my rating will obviously reduce. You've seen, right? In McDonald's and all, there is this star performer का photo लगा देते हैं, star performer करते हैं, right? Because कि उन्होंने कितना ज़्यादा sale किया, right? Here, similarly, अगर if I'm not getting, मेरा जो expected है 50,000 a day है कि मैं इतना sale करूँगी अपने company में, नहीं हो रहा है, मेरे ratings impact होंगे, उससे क्या होगा? Probably I'll be first of all demotivated. I'm here, I'm not able to do that much of sale. मेरी training proper नहीं हुई है, cultural nuances मुझे नहीं सिखाए गए हैं. Quite possible I will leave that job. And as an HR manager, my responsibility is to reduce the attrition. So I have to develop certain strategies so that I ensure that my employees who are at the front line, उनको proper training दे जिससे वो cultural nuances को भी understand करेंगे, ठीक है? Good answer, but an HR perspective is required, right? चलिए, let's discuss the third question. What steps should Brew and Bean take to realign its HR practices with its local culture to improve employee and customer satisfaction?
One is to improve employee and customer satisfaction.
Okay.
And how we can improve? First of all, we hire a person who knows the Indian culture well. And he can easily acclimate himself in the Indian environment. Okay, and we have to give him a training. So once, suppose the customer is coming into your cafe, so he should know how to talk to the Indian crowd.
Correct, correct.
And we should also create an environment in the cafeteria. Suppose festival is coming around, so we should decorate our cafeteria.
We are not in marketing again.
And recognize the employee strength also. Once we hire the employee, so we recognize his strength, and we can train him like personally and professionally. We can fit into the business
Correct.
and getting a more revenue.
तो आप अगर आप HR manager हैं, एक तो you need to train them. Firstly, second, उनकी performance metrics भी आपको local तरीके से बनाने पड़ेंगे. Third, you have to take a constant feedback from your employees. At times होता क्या है, people who, there is a HR manager or a head, he or she doesn't know what is going on at a lower level. कि when there is a direct interaction with the customer, उधर क्या exactly problem क्या हो रही है. So at times it happens that the HR managers जो होते हैं, they go to the outlets, they try to know. Feedback उन्हें कौन देता है? Employees देते हैं. For instance, if she was there, if I am an employee and my HR manager comes to me and he or she asks me कि आज sales इतने कम क्यों हुए? So probably I can say, you know, that ma'am came, she asked me for certain things I could not understand, or I was not able to customize it accordingly. I don't know how many of you know this, that Starbucks में one of the employees, it was all around the internet, was fired and that person has released all the recipes.
I found it on LinkedIn.
है ना, it was leaked throughout. So these are the ways, you know, that so with this we have come to the end of this particular class. We have understood the concept of performance management, we have understood the concept of expat compensation, learning and development, and we have done the case study as well. Let's hope that in the next class I'll try to cover up what is remaining, and you guys know your homeworks, right? Alright, so priority order Starbucks से नहीं start करेंगे हम वो जो start से बोला है वो हम start करेंगे, ठीक है? Okay guys, have a good weekend, whatever remaining part is left. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful class. Thank you.
On Diwali, are you going to have class?
I have no idea. You guys are probably older than me, so I don't know. I'll let you know. Probably no, I don't know. Wait for a second. Can you call someone from there, please? So guys, ये जो सबसे important चीज़ होती है हमने कर दी है. The reason we woke up in the morning and came. आप कर दो. Can someone please call the tech guy? Just call.